All right, well, welcome back everybody. So the project at hand today, I've mentioned it once already on one of the videos, but I've been holding off. So one of the negatives of buying a cab tractor, and it's one of the very few, and I knew this before I ever bought this tractor, is a fertilizer spreader. So I've been needing to put fertilizer out on my dove food plot for a couple weeks now, and I keep missing rain after rain after rain. It just rained again today, but the rest of the week they're calling for like 70% chance. So I need to get this project done. Problem is the parts I ordered off Amazon showed up in Missouri. Well, that's a problem. I live in Florida. Then they didn't have them in the warehouse. I had to reorder them again, so I'm 2 weeks behind on getting this project going. So what I want to do today, because my back glass opens and hits this hopper and it's so hard to reach back, grab this handle, open and close the fertilizer chute down here, I want to put an electronic actuator on here and motorize this. And a quick little backstory, I used to own a car stereo shop many years ago, and I had that for quite a few years, and I did all kinds of 12-volt wiring, so I feel pretty comfortable that I can pull this off. I used to do stuff like this all the time. So the plan is, once my actuator shows up, this is going to be a 2-day project, so if you see me change clothes, that's why. I'm going to mount it here. I've done measured, bought the right length actuator, and I'm going to bolt it through right here to where I push a button in the cab, run a wiring down, hook up to it, and it will open and close this for me. I think I can make it work. Actually, I knew I was going to do this project last year and already started some wiring inside. So today we're going to do the wiring. Tomorrow I'll finish this video up with the actuator. The other reason I want this is because if you own a cab tractor and try to run one of these, if the ground is dusty, and not to mention all the nasty fertilizer dust that comes out of here, when you got your back glass open and you can barely reach this, it's blowing all that junk in your tractor cab. So it's just absolutely aggravating. I want to say I've seen electronic fertilizer hoppers online before, but from what I can remember, they were outrageous. So just take the normal cost of this plus about $75, maybe $100 for all the electronics, buttons, and actuator, and I think I'm going to make this work. So I've been really excited about this project. All right, so last year I pulled all this apart and wired me in a switch where I can have power on the rear here. I've already run a wire, and I do that whenever I'm backing up my boat trailer, which has electronic brakes, or it's got a little actuator on it, so I can flip that on to keep the brakes from actuating whenever I put it in reverse, as well as a few other things. I went ahead and put me in a double rocker switch last year, and I was planning on wiring in relays to do reverse polarity, which is what you have to do to make an actuator go one way and back the other. However, when I was getting the actuator online, I noticed that they make reverse polarity switches that has 4-wire hookups. That saves me from having to hook up all the relays. So I bought one of these. It was relatively affordable, 14, 16 bucks, something like that. And it was, you know, already listed to go with the actuator. And if you're ever going to try this project, I'll try to remember to put this in our Amazon store. Everything I use on the channel, just about everything comes from Amazon. So we started an Amazon store, so I list all that stuff in there. So if you're ever curious about something, that link is down in the description. It's never easy, is it? So I have spent the last 15 minutes off camera trying to get a stripped out screw out of here, and I finally got it. So last year I went ahead and run a 10 gauge power wire and a ground wire up from the battery and put me a fuse in down there. All right, pretty straightforward. Just hook power and ground to the top. It doesn't like it matters which direction because it's reversing polarity. And the two in the middle will reverse each direction back to my actuator. All right, so if you happen to own one of these John Deere 4 Series cab tractors, maybe even a 3 Series, they have similar cabs. There is a grommet up here. So you can see this where the back glass comes up. There's a grommet that'll take you right here inside the cab. That's why I run my wire last time. I keep it looped up back here. So this wire is a constant power off and on for different 12-volt attachments I have and backing up my boat trailer. And this other one's going to be reverse polarity. So I want to make for sure I don't get those mixed up so I don't wind up burning something out. Because actuators, you know, are one of the few things I'll have around the property that can handle reverse polarity. And there's my wire. Now, I'm running 14 gauge pure copper wire. Make for sure you get copper wire. If you run that cheap aluminum stuff, you need to run a much bigger wire. I've got 10 gauge pure copper wire coming up here from the battery. That'll easily carry a 20 amp load. And I run a larger wire up because I don't know how many switches I may put in for accessories down the road. The actuator, I can't remember, but it only requires a few amps. The switch is rated for 20. I've got plenty of power up, and 14 gauge pure copper wire should carry enough power back because it's not like it's going to be under a constant load. Now, typically, I solder all my connections, but when I'm in an enclosed cab like this, there's no moisture, things like that, I don't worry about it as much. Now, if it was a connection outside or say on a boat, I tend to solder those. I love this new impact. I use it when I shouldn't. Obviously, little screws like this, not what you need to impact for, but I find them so convenient. But this new one has torque adjustments, which I've never had before on an impact. So doing little nuts and bolts like this, I mean, it stops really quick and easy. All right, I've got to where I really like using these. They're just called a 2-pin quick disconnect harness. So it comes just like this, all in one piece. I'll cut it right in the middle, hook one end to the actuator, one end to the wire running up to power, and they make nice, tight-fitting connections that seal up nicely. That's very important on something like a fertilizer spreader that's going to be slinging that stuff everywhere, because that will eat up all kinds of metal and corrode connections. Now you're probably wondering, how am I going to be able to tell these apart out here without labeling them or marking them? So here's what I typically do. Normally on these plugs, I wire up power to the covered side. That way if I accidentally bump a switch on and this is banging around, it doesn't short out and blow a fuse. On this one, because it's reverse polarity, well, sometimes that's power, sometimes that's ground. That doesn't really matter. So I did it the exact opposite. I did red is the exposed one. Again, doesn't matter, it's a momentary switch, so there's never any power going here unless the switch is held down. So now, whenever I put the other side onto my actuator, this is the only plug that it can hook up to. Everything else around the property, I always wire up this way with the power side covered. So now I can't actually hook them up wrong, no matter how hard I try. All right, well, I finally got my actuator in. It is very rare I ever have any shipping issues with Amazon, but the first one I ordered got delivered to the wrong state for some reason. 99.9% of the time I order something on Amazon, I get it quick, no problems. It's taken almost 2 weeks to get this. Had to reorder it a second time, get my refund for the first one. I finally have it. So I measured this out to begin with to make for sure that I could mount it down here off of this main brace, and it would have enough of a throw to operate this handle. So normally you manually operate this to lift up, but I've been dreaming for a couple years to be able to do this with the push button from the tractor, and I think I finally figured out how to do it. So now I just need to get this mounted to the brace, mounted up here. Looks like I've already got a threaded point to do that with, and fingers crossed this works. All right, so this comes with 2 levers to open 2 hopper chutes down there is what I'm gonna call it, and a knob in the middle that ties both of these together. So I think I can take this knob apart, spread these apart, and put this actuator in here. It already comes with a pre-drilled hole, and it comes with a pin. So it looks like if I pinch that together and put a little Carter pin that comes with it, it should work out pretty good. And now I can figure out how to mount this on the lower end. All right, so change of plans. I had to stick a long bolt through, and I'm gonna have to mount this to the outside so I can get it shifted over far enough to get mounted to that brace. But I think it's gonna work out okay. Now that looks like that shifts me over far enough that I can get 2 screws through this brace into here and not be torquing and twisting everything. Alright, now all that's left to do is wire up this 2-way connection in, so it'll hook up to my wire that I already put in. And I'll cut some of this back, put some loom tube on it, tape it up, make it look nice and neat. Alright, that should not go in anywhere, and nothing feels like it's in a bind. I still feel some slop, so we're good. Alright y'all, so now it's the moment of truth. Alright, so now is the moment of truth. It's working. That's up and down. Hopefully you can hear me with the rain. It has rained every single day this week with me waiting to put fertilizer out. Luckily the next 3 to 4 days they're calling for really high chances of rain. So if I don't get the fertilizer out today, although I will include that in this video, I can have a chance to get it out tomorrow and still get some rain on it. I am extremely excited and happy with the results. The actuator is probably a little slow, that is no problem at all. So what I can do is speed the tractor up as this opens up more and more. Plus, I don't need this nowhere near all the way open to get the amount of fertilizer out that I like. Wide open on this thing is way too much. I actually like it about halfway where it's at now. So within just a few seconds, I can open and close it from the tractor cab. I no longer have to leave this open, reach way out here where I could hardly get this. This wanted to hit my glass. I was scared that I was gonna bust my glass one day. So now I can do everything from the convenience of the cab. Like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a couple of years. Should have got my butt in gear and done it. I just let a lot of other higher priorities come. But now I truly do not regret having a cab tractor. This is one of the few things that I still kind of miss having an ocean station where I could reach back and grab it. Now I can sit in the AC with the tubes going and not get no fertilizer dust or field dust in my face. And I forgot to mention, if you happen to be stumbling across this video and this is something that you've been looking to do, this is a Tartar, I think it's a 600 pound if I remember correctly, spreader. And I'm 99% sure I got this from Tractor Supply. So you can do exactly what I just done. Again, down in the description, I'll give an Amazon link to our store, which has the switch and this actuator. If you go to Tractor Supply and get this, and the parts that I got, I can tell you it'll work. And it's gonna make this so nice and convenient. Oh, I wish I had done this a long time ago. I'm excited about spreading fertilizer now. Well, y'all, I don't know what to say other than I am very pleased. So I just soaked everything down with water. It's one thing I always do after spreading fertilizer. It was all over the entire tractor. I mean, it's in the wheels, everywhere. That stuff is so corrosive that I spend quite a while with water flushing out the fertilizer hopper. I even soaked down that actuator. I want to see if it can handle water. It said it was waterproof rated. I can't half understand these ratings nowadays, IP, whatever. So we'll see how it holds up. And I may order a second one for a backup in the future, although that size is pretty common. Again, I'll have everything down there in the Amazon store if you're interested in a project like this. So we got everything hosed down. I believe it's cleaned off. We shouldn't have to worry about a bunch of rust now. And I really enjoyed that. That was so neat. So yeah, it's a little slow, but that's okay. I was able to fine tune out in the field and really adjust how I want it to be. Whenever I got a clog down in the bottom and I had to reach back and fling it open and close, I was able to run it all the way open, fling that little chunk out. Sometimes that happens. Close it back up, and I got every bit of fertilizer out of there. So I was so happy with its performance. And not once did I have to open the back glass and get dust and fertilizer all in it. So that was amazing. That's the first time ever I've spread fertilizer without it getting all over me. So I really enjoyed this project. Sorry this video probably rocked on a bit long, doing the how-to as well as doing a little bit of drone imagery. I wanted you to see it working in the field. So some people like longer videos, some don't, but it's just the way this one worked out. So hopefully you enjoyed little projects like this. I know some people do, some people don't. That's kind of what this channel is all about, a mix of everything. But I have put this off far too long. So glad I did it. Actually looking forward to doing fertilizer now. So I'll use this in the future for doing small food plots, fertilizer, etc. And some of you may be wondering why I invested the time and effort in that. Well, I explained it for the dust and dirt and cabs and other thing like that. But in the future, just this field alone is 10 acres, not counting the yard, not counting a 7-acre food plot or food plots in the back. I have a tremendous amount of stuff to fertilize. And once I get animals out here on this pasture, grazing it, putting pressure on it, I'm probably going to put 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 pounds of fertilizer out every spring on this to keep it rejuvenated and going well. So I have a lot of fertilizer spreading to do in the future, and that's going to make it really nice and convenient to be in the cab and not get it on me for years to come. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.